George has a very interesting topic that he'd like to share with you all on this episode of Shift Talking. But before we do that, let's introduce our guest here, Benny, who's also joining us midway through shooting here.
Another guest.
Another guest.
Yeah.
2 guests in the same week.
Bye, Max. Bye-bye.
So, go ahead.
All right, so social media, is it good or bad? The reason why I bring that up is a while back ago, I had an issue with LAPD, and like I said, God bless their souls, but anyways, I was in LA, I had to work, I had to take my personal vehicle to work, and I was at a red light, cop pulled me over, and he told me, do you know why I stopped you? And I was like, well, no, why? I follow you on Instagram, I know what modifications you have done to your car, pop the hood, or I'm towing the car. Well, I popped the hoods, I definitely didn't want to get the car towed, I had to work. But anyways, he writes me a citation, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna cut you a deal, remove all the mods, or if I catch you again with the same modifications, we're impounding your car. Haven't had any issues since, and I'm stuck.
So, does social media affect you? You know, I mean, so basically what I see is a lot of these guys doing burnouts, you know, at sideshows, or doing street racing, pulls on the highway, and posting on IG. Is it gonna hurt you, you know, down the road? When you get pulled over, are they gonna pull up your Instagram? Especially if you have your Instagram on your car. Are they gonna, you know, as they're pulling you over, are they looking at your Instagram right there, looking at your last videos, you know, seeing the mods that you've done to your car, if you've done them?
They're gonna be like, hell, you just did a pull 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You're like, I just looked at your story.
So you know, I think this is more of maybe kind of like a public, you know, service announcement. You know, kind of be careful what you post on social media, YouTube or IG, because the cops do look. Whether they look, they're not at home, you know, or on social media looking through Instagram, but when they pull you over and you have a tag on your car, they're probably checking it out.
You know, I love to critically assess these types of conversations, because, you know, unfortunately, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a police officer, nor do I ever wish to ever one day be one.
God bless their souls.
But do they, and when I say they, I mean police officers, do they have the legal right to use what, I know you put yourself out there by putting yourself publicly on the internet, but can they do something like give you an ultimatum like what they did legally? Can they say, you know, I follow you on Instagram, so I know what you have under the hood of your car, so your only 2 options are pop your hood or I tow your car? Can they do that legally?
I don't think so, but I think cops are human beings, so they, you know, they're not lawyers either, you know, so they're gonna do what they think they're capable of doing. But cops are notorious for, it's not necessarily legal, but they, you know, and what I say by legal is that they're not committing a crime. But if they ask you to do something and you do it, and say, for instance, may I search your car? And you say yes, you don't have to let them search your car. You just gave them permission.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. So you got to be careful when you get pulled over by a cop. If you've done nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about. Let's get that out of the way. But if you're trying to hide something, you got to be very discreet. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think, Benny?
Well, I think, like AJ said, definitely I don't think it's legal, but I think it's a way for them to, you know, do some reverse psychology at you and see if you have something on their hood. Maybe they haven't even checked your Instagram, but they're using that as a leverage to be able to access under your hood. So yeah, like AJ said, as soon as you let them, as soon as you give them your consent, I mean, you're giving, that's pretty much it there. So
and like Benny said, it's a mind game. The police officers, it's a lot of psychology with the police officer. They, you know, that's how they do their job. They're investigators, so to speak, you know, by talking to you, by your actions, by the way you're moving, or, you know, whatever. That's their job. They're, you know, they'll mind screw you if you let them. You know? It's
similar to when they're driving behind you for a good amount of time. They're waiting for you to make an error to have a reason to pull you over. It's the same thing. By them saying that, it could be a way for them to have access to see what's under your hood, to see how you react with what they're saying. It couldn't, you know, be the other way around. Maybe they do have access to.
And I don't even know if that's even, I mean, so we've never really touched on this. So if you do get pulled over and the cop asks you to pop your hood, do you have to pop your hood?
Yeah.
Not without a search warrant.
Yeah, no, not. Yeah.
What about probable cause though? Because if they have probable cause, which in the state of California now an exhaust is all it takes, is that, can you say no at that point if they have probable cause?
Well, I know that one of our friends got pulled over, and one of the questions is that he asked the officer, or someone in our group chat said, "Are you NCS certified or something like that to even know what's under my hood?" You know, I mean, do you have a certificate? Are you certified to be even looking at under my hood? But I think we're going just a little bit off topic of what we're talking about. We're talking about, you know, does social media hurt you if you're, you know, on IG and, you know, you're doing stuff like that? I mean, if you are, I highly suggest that you don't post it. And like I said, the cold start videos, you know, the revving, the racing, you know, not racing or doing little pulls, you know, that's kind of stuff you got to be you got to be very cautious of what you post, you know, and how does it hurt you, or what does it hurt you, or will it hurt you, you know?
It's definitely interesting. I think we can take this deeper too in another video, maybe in the future. Knowing your rights too is just as equally important as knowing the laws, because there have been situations within our groups of friends where people have gotten pulled over and have said no. Right, to an officer, and by law they can, and it's completely in their right, and the officer can't do anything about it.
I had a situation where I was pulled over for exhaust early on before this all came out, and you know, I already convinced the officer that my car was stock and I didn't modify it in any way, shape, or form. And you know, after that went by, then he goes, "I'm not gonna give you a ticket." This is his words. He goes, "I'm not gonna give you a ticket, but just for shits and giggles, do you mind popping the hood for me?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" Because I knew I was still legal, you know? And I did pop the hood, and he looked at it and he's all, "Yeah, you weren't BSing me, you know?" But he did have probable cause to pull me over, because he said he heard me, you know, from a couple blocks away, you know? And I understand that, but that cop he was a little uninformed about my vehicle, and but he was also cool, you know? But there might be situations like that, you know, where you do get pulled over and the cops will ask you that question, and you know, you can say, I think you can decline. They can't just go in your car and search. You know, they have to have probable cause to go into your car.
Without a warrant.
Yeah, so that's why they'll bring a canine, you know, unless they smell some bud or something coming out of your car, then they could go in. That's probable cause. But, you know, a lot of times they do that and people give up their rights, you know? So
okay, so now taking it back to social media then, can then Instagram and what you post on Instagram be used as probable cause?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because you may have did that last week, but you're not doing it now. They have to see you doing the crime. I don't know. You know, we don't know, you know?
I think maybe that's something that we might have to find an answer through Instagram, because technically speaking, I believe Instagram owns all pictures that are posted up.
Yes.
I don't know if I remember something like that early on. So that's probably something that they have to get permission from Instagram to be able to use.
Interesting.
Or maybe even Facebook, because you know, Facebook is Instagram essentially, so.
Interesting.
But regardless of that, like, it's still open. So let's say you have a public page, right? So you post all that stuff on there, and you have officer sees that, and then they catch him on the street, and they're like, I know that car. Like, I know who that is. I'm just gonna follow him around and see if he just fucks up. It's like, I'm just gonna wait for it. And then when it does, yeah, you open up a floodgate. He's like, I know exactly what you done. I know what you have. And then, I mean, that could bite you in the ass.
Yeah, definitely.
But it also, it's a double-edged sword, because At that point, that dude could have been like, you know what? I was about that life. I changed. Everything's back to stock now. Don't got anything to worry about. So it's, you know, tongue in cheek, man. It could go either way for you.
Yeah, definitely.
But some of these cars, some of the videos I see on YouTube, like these sideshows, you know, you see the same cars.
Oh yeah.
And you see them in the same area because, you know, in South Central, I know these cars, you know, and you see the same cars doing the same donuts, and it's like, dude, they know who you are, you know. It's like, you know, why you keep on putting it on YouTube, you know? But
which kind of puts, you know, like curiosity, you know, like if they keep doing that, maybe it's because they can't do anything about it. You know, because at the end of the day, it's if they have to cause property damage, they have to injure somebody, they have, you know, at the end of the day, that's what law is. Law's supposed to protect our individual
but you're
rights.
still breaking the law. If you think about it, it's like someone committing a crime. So say you rob someone at an ATM machine, right? And they got you on video. The cops didn't see you, but they could go to that video and pull it. And if they can identify you through the video, that's good enough, you know? So, I mean, can they give you a ticket for doing a burnout in a parking lot that you did last week? You know, but I think on some of the YouTubers, they actually arrested some of them because they pulled their videos.
Yeah.
And I think one of them was child endangerment, you know, because there was a kid in the car. So I think, you know, I think the cops can, or a DA, district attorney, can actually use that against you.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. Let us know in the comments down below if you do have some sort of legal background, or maybe if you have an experience to share with us. Share with us. Let us know down below your thoughts. Like I said, maybe you have some more insight than we do. Other than that, like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Anything else that...
And leave comments.
And share with all your
comments
homies.
on some other topics that you would like us to talk about.
Oh, for sure.
Because we're not lawyers, we're not police officers. We're not, you know, we're just car enthusiasts that like to talk about random car stuff. So please give us some more topics.
And share with everybody. Your grandma, your tia, your brother. Go to Walmart, set up everything on. Just send it to everybody.
Oh, I like to say one thing. Bye, Max.